Kia ora whānau, Vanessa from WorkFit here. Hope you're all well. Today I'm talking about sleep. Do you know that we spend 1/3 of our lives being asleep? That means if we live to 80 years old, we're spending about 26 years in bed. Also, 35% of New Zealanders report not getting a good night's sleep or adequate sleep. Does this sound familiar to you? So as you can see, we have this very simple hormone chart. Now I'll walk you through it so we can understand this together. But at about 6 a.m, this black line starts to rise on this chart. This black line here represents our cortisol. So our cortisol, I know you've all heard me speak of cortisol before, but it is a stress hormone produced by our bodies. It's responsible for a number of things, and one of those things is waking us up in the morning. So as you can see, it starts to rise just after 6 a.m. It's at its peak in the morning, and then at about lunchtime slowly starts to decline there. The red line there works in the opposite way. So this line represents melatonin, which is another hormone produced by the body, and this hormone is responsible for A, making us feel quite tired and putting us to sleep, and B, keeping us asleep during the night. So as you can see, it's at its lowest levels during the day there, so from 9 till about 3 p.m, and then at about 6 p.m. it starts to rise, peaking at about midnight, and then dropping again. So the diagram on the right hand side shows what naturally occurs in our body dependent on the circadian clock that we have. For example, we're naturally at our strongest around 5 to 6 p.m. at night. Our deepest sleep naturally happens around 2 a.m. in the morning, and our peak alertness is around 10 a.m. in the morning. Now remember, this is if we lived without a clock, or if we lived without having to be in the office at 8 a.m. in the morning or till 6 p.m. at night. So this is what our bodies would naturally do if we allowed our circadian clock to take over. So what actually happens when you close your eyes and drift off into the world of nod? Phase 1 and 2 are quite a light sleep. You can easily be awoken from these and your eyes are sharp, but you're quite aware of the world around you. Stage 3 is the deepest sleep. We begin to see delta waves appear in our brain activity. Our heart rate reduces, our breathing rate reduces, and so does our body temperature. This brings us nicely into stage 4 of sleep. Stage 4 of sleep is a deep sleep. This is the good stuff. This is where our brain gets quite active. Our body is healing and repairing muscles, moving nutrients to where they're needed. This phase doesn't last long, and on average, an 8-hour sleep will mean that we get around an hour and 20 minutes of the stage 4 deep sleep. Following deep sleep is REM sleep. Now, if you've ever watched a baby sleep, you're probably quite familiar with this sleep. It's really important for our brain. Still a little bit of a mystery what actually is happening, but we do know that our voluntary muscles are paralyzed in this stage of sleep. Our eyes are moving underneath our eyelids, and we dream here. So, we know what sleep is, but why do we sleep? Sleep is important for a number of reasons, some which I have mentioned. Firstly, that melatonin and that cortisol I talked about, that's really important for our weight management. Along with waking us up and putting us to sleep, hormones are responsible for a number of different processes around our body. Sleep is vital for our immune system. When we're in that deep sleep, this is where we're pulling the nutrients out from our food and sending them to where they need to go. Sleep is vital for our brain health, that deep sleep and that REM cycle. We're not quite sure what happens there, but we know that our brain is very active. Repair and growth, and also sleep is attributed to helping us live longer. So we all know now what actually happens when we fall asleep, and we know why it's good for us, but how do we get there? Number 1, we're going to exercise or move more. This is going to help us feel a little bit more tired at night time. Number 2, we're going to support our circadian rhythm by getting out in nature, experiencing sunshine on our face and breathing in air into our lungs. Number 3, we're going to monitor our diet, make sure we're getting all those vitamins and minerals that are needed to help us fall asleep and stay asleep. Number 4, we're going to try avoid stimulants. Things like coffee are great in the morning time, but probably not ideal late afternoon. Wine does make us feel sleepy at night, but it doesn't actually support us staying asleep or getting a good night's sleep. Number 5, work-life balance. Now this one is really important. Making sure that we're winding down at the end of the day and that we're not stressed out will help heaps with the way that we sleep. Cool. So I hope you know a little bit more about sleep, what it actually is, why it's good for you, and I hope you got some practical tips on how to get a better night's sleep. Wishing you all the luck. Let me know how it goes. See you next time. Ka kite.